Okay, people, this is the update I've got. Tonight I took the Mercury, I put it out in the water today, and as you see the video before this, I got it going. And my buddy said that it was probably just something small, you know. And he was right. Turns out he was right. As you see, it ran, but it wasn't quite right. You know, it was spitting and sputtering. And I just assumed, looking at the carburetor, you know, I pulled all the lines off. And let me take you over here and show you what you got. As you see, it never turns into just something small. You've got to try to sometimes, the situation has you getting into something a little deeper than you maybe would like. But here's the deal, right? So, these lines right here, now I did this getting it off. But they're very hard. They're probably originals, you know? So, there's the filter. It actually looks worse than what it is. And you open that little case right there, it's actually pretty clean. But that's that. And as you see, I've got the cowl parts apart. I'm going to actually go ahead and clean this all up. It's very dirty. So we're going to get that clean. I'm going to go to the Mercury dealer and get me a new seal. As you see, that's all tore up. All the little parts are pulled apart. This is the water tube. Okay, and here's some of the other stuff. I keep it all together. And I took pictures prior to taking it all off, but I probably got a pretty good understanding of how things go together. But let's get back to the engine. You see the carburetor, right? You say to yourself, yeah, it's probably, you know, you don't know the engine. You don't know the situation with it, other than you know it runs. It just runs rough. It pops, and it was spitting like something wasn't right. Now, part of it could have been the lines that I showed you, right? That maybe they were just hardened and they were sucking air. And my buddy actually said that. He goes, I think it's sucking air somewhere. So let me use this light. I'll show you this light I got here. Oh, it doesn't seem to want to. There we go. Hold on. Okay, anyway, there's that. I was just getting ready. I stripped everything off. As you see, I'm going to get in here and clean this all off. It ran really strong. I just I didn't feel comfortable not knowing the engine, taking it out on the water without really having a backup or checking everything out, you know. So here's the situation. I get ready to pull the carb off right here. And then I go underneath to actually see where these lines go to in the back. These lines here. And as you see, there's some kind of a vacuum line or something. And look what we find underneath. Can you see that? Do I need to point it out? Look at that line right there. It's busted off. That's where it was spitting from underneath. So, hold on. Let me get this light set up so you can see what I'm talking about. Right here. Get this light right. See that line right there? Let me zoom in for you. See the line? Ho, ho, ho! I think we found the problem. That's definitely a problem for making it run accurately. So the situation says we've got to fix that line. We got to fix that line. And at the end of the day, I am going to pull the carb off and I'm going to actually clean it. But I'm happy. I'm very happy I found that line busted like that. Because the engine ran so good, I'm like, it's got to be something like a carburetor rebuild or something. The other thing I noticed, this was loose. This fuel pump. Right here, there's a screw, right? This was loose. So this goes to show you that sometimes you can get into a situation and think it's something else, and you actually find a different problem. My buddy, he was right. He kind of knew right off the gun. He said, it sounds like it's got a leak somewhere. And he was dead nuts right. He just didn't know that it was down here because, I mean, who would have known, right? Who would have known that? Because you really can't see it. The cowl's in the way here. They're really not, it's not accessible. So just the fact that I'm very, sometimes anal about my stuff, that I just can't live with everything all greasy and stuff like that. I said, I'm going to take this down. I'm going to get some engine degreaser and I'm going to spray this down and clean it. And I'm going to rebuild the carb and blah, blah, blah. Lo and behold, here we are. I need to get these lines. I need to get these lines replaced. They're brittle. They're hard. We're going to get those tomorrow. And we are going to, before I rebuild the carb, I'm just going to spray it down and clean the outside of it. Before we do all that and get into it, I think we're going to put this baby back together and see what she's got. So, yeah. Other than that, she really, really runs good. I got a nice 14-foot deep V boat that this is going to go on. But look at this deal, right? I mean, everything's really pretty good. I'm going to try to button up this wiring a little bit better. I know it's tough to see without a flashlight, but this light I got's really needing recharge, so as you see, it's flashing on me. But yeah, so that's the deal there. I did take pictures of everything prior to pulling it apart. That's definitely good advice. And we're going to be in good shape. I mean, it looks like someone did a repair here. They must have just put some silicone on there so that wasn't, you know, arcing or whatever. But this is a little homemade job here. We're going to go ahead and redo this and do it correctly. But this boat actually has a steering wheel, and that's really what this is all about, this whole setup. And everything else looks really good. I mean, the coils and all that look good on the back, the spark plugs. But man, let me tell you something. I think we're in good shape. I really, really think we're in good shape. I think it was just a vacuum leak all along. And the other update I did I wanted to show you was down here. Okay? So, when you want to drain the water, you don't have to get a bucket or a can and keep doing that. You can just pop that out of there, and then you're good to go. But yeah, the rest of this is really it just needs a little TLC, you know, a little TLC, and she'll be back to normal. You know, we'll get her 100%. We'll get her functioning. We'll get her out on the water, and we will definitely have fun with this. It's an 18 XD, and it is Mercury. It's going to be a good unit. I really believe that. I believe that whoever had this originally, it just that line rotted out. They had a hard time with it. They couldn't see it. And the situation is, for whatever reason, I'm glad I have it. And I'm glad I actually went through the whole process of actually going to pull the carb, because that's the only way I found that line. And the situation over here, I'm going to go ahead and clean all this up. You can see the grime on everything. And you can see this is really dirty, you know. But this is what pressure washers are for. And this is what garages and shops are for. As for getting this clean. And here's the situation with this table, this portable table I built. I really like this because you can clean this off, and there's one project right there, and then you can work on that, and when you're done, you clean it off, and everything's there. But that is the advice I will give you if you're going to do something like this, to definitely go ahead and take pictures ahead of time. And tonight, our sponsor is Cano Air Coil. When you can't break it free, we'll get her loose. Air Coil. And that stuff really works good if you haven't never used it. Before you go ahead and start breaking these nuts free and stuff like this right here, I had to pull a wire off here. You just go ahead, and you ain't got to go wild with it. You just put a little foam on there, see? And it creeps in. And anything you got to pull off like that, you just go ahead and put a little bit of that on there. You see how that foams up like that? That creeps down inside, and let me tell you something. You really got something if you Air Coil. That is our sponsor tonight. Cano Air Coil. When you can't get something loose, we'll break it free. Air Coil. So there you go. That's the update on the Mercury 18 horse XD. And real soon, you will see this baby on the boat. We've got a few little upgrades to do to the boat. The boat itself is in very good shape. What else can I say about that? It's going to be a really good cruiser. I cannot wait. I'm really chomping at the bit to get this thing back together. So tomorrow, and I could order the parts online. I think I could do that, but I think the situation calls for here is that I go right to the boatyard tomorrow and I get these parts. And we get this put back together because, I mean, you got people on these videos that want to see part 2. They want to see part 2, and they want to see a conclusion to the situation. They don't want to just see project after project started without seeing some kind of conclusion. So that's what we got for you tonight, and I'm glad that we found that situation. And I know you want to see it one more time, so we're going to go under here, and we are going to use the zoom feature. Let's get under here. Boom. Let's zoom in on this baby. Look at that baby right there. Oh, man, I cannot believe we caught that. We cannot believe we caught that little line right there. And that's exactly where it was spitting. I was putting my hand underneath earlier because I was trying to feel for it, but it's very hard with that cowl in the way. And the situation is there that if you can't get your hand or an eyeball on it without a bore scope, I mean, you'd need some kind of a scope to get under there. But that's why I pulled it apart, because I wanted to make sure what we were doing was 100%. And sometimes you have to go 100% in order to find the, you know, everything that you need to fix something. So we're going to replace these lines. These are, I thought they were some kind of cables at first, but these are actual hoses going into, let's see where they go. They go into the body of the head, I guess. Yep. Must be for some kind of airport. I see it right there. There's an airport there. It must be some kind of vacuum for something. But that's the situation. And we will get back to you on a part 2 on this before the weekend's up. And that much is a Louisiana guarantee. All right, people. This is Bri. I'm over here at the ranch. And we're trying to make things right. All right, you guys have fun. Get ready, because the water season's coming. And all my friends have boats. So you better, if you want to be there and not be square, you better be there, because we're going to be on the water while you're sitting home on the couch worrying about what Dr. Fauci says, and we're going to be on the water. We're not worried what he says. So, all right, people, you have a good night. This is Bri. I'm out.